Okay, let's be real. Parenting is not easy, but you are not alone. Welcome to the Parent Prescription, a podcast where I will give you real, practical advice to help you navigate the ups and downs of raising healthy, happy children without losing your mind. This episode today is one that is very important. We are in Internet Safety Month. And so we know hands down that our children are on a device a lot of times, especially our teenagers are on a device, whether it's a phone, a tablet, the video games. We need to hear the information about internet safety because it's pretty shocking once you get to hear this stuff. And so I want us to be fully aware of the dangers of cyberbullying, sexting, sextortions, internet safety. We need to know these things as parents so that we can be proactive about what to do. And so please listen in as we talk more with Miss Trinity Gardner from Children's Advocacy Center about internet safety. Okay, I told you I'd bring a friend with me, so I've got Miss Trinity Gardner with me from the Texarkana Children's Advocacy Center, and we are going to talk about internet safety. So, of course, this is super important. This is Internet Safety Month. Very important topic because we know everyone is attached to these phones and tablets and devices, including our kids. And so let's talk about it. So, Internet Safety Month, let's just start with why is it important for us to talk about internet safety?
Yes. Well, before we got on air, me and you were just talking. We have young children right now in our households. My son's 2.5. You said you have a young child too, around the age of 3 or so. And just they watch us do it. They watch us be on our phones. And then what are they doing? They're mimicking what mom and dad are doing. And they just have access to this little box. And someone had said the other day to me, I thought it was funny. It's like the power our phones have probably is some of the technology that was used to send a man to the moon. Like that we have that in our pocket.
Yeah.
And that's wild to me. And so in this generation, we just can't avoid it. Our schools are using technology, different organizations use technology. And so it is just now at our fingertips, and we just have to utilize it correctly. And just like we teach our kids safety rules about stranger danger and other things, we have to talk about internet safety and technology safety in general.
Yes. Okay. And so what are some of the biggest online risks that children are facing today?
Yes. So I want to give a big shout out and just know that a lot of my research has come from a place called the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They have a program or a resource called the Cyber Tip Line. It's a national tip line that adults and children can make reports to when it comes to online crimes, solicitation of minors, scary things on the internet, right? And so I had the pleasure of looking at their 2025 data that they just released about reports and trends and things they're seeing. So in 2025, the National Cyber Tip Line saw a 158% increase from 24 to 25 of online enticement of children.
Ooh.
And if you look back from 2023, there was probably almost like a 300% increase, from that. So we're seeing just continual rise in online enticement of children. If you don't know what online enticement of children, that's when someone pretending to be a child reaches out to another child in order to exploit them or sexually abuse them. That's their ultimate goal. They're going to groom them, which means build a relationship, a false relationship with this child, break down boundaries, gain their trust in order to exploit or abuse them. And so we're seeing higher trends in that in general. They're also seeing trends in sextortion cases. And what sextortion is, we got to talk about sexting before we talk about sextortion. Okay, so sexting is when a child sends a nude image to someone they do know or someone they don't know, online, in person, whatever the means be. We're seeing this at younger and younger ages, sadly. Their center reports that kids as young as 9 years old are sending and receiving nude images. And I can back that because I go into schools and I do presentations for these kids. And when we're bringing up these topics, I'm seeing the sexting stuff happening at younger, like 4th and 5th grade
Wow.
in the schools in our community, the Texarkana area.
That's so scary.
I know.
You wonder when is the right time to bring this information up, right? And you think about, and to me, I always think about, okay, preteens, you're talking 11, 12, 10, 11, 12. When you start talking about social media and sexting, and you don't want to start too early, but you also don't want to start too late. And now we're talking about 4th and 5th graders.
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
So we have to talk about the sexting. Just for parents to know, when we go into schools and we talk about sexting, by federal law, it is legal to produce, possess, or distribute a nude image of a child. So we call it now child sexual abuse material. It's child pornography. That's just a name for it, right? So we tell kids, if you send them, if you ask for them, if you share them without, just sharing them around to different people, or even if you didn't ask for them and they're on your phone, you can get into trouble for having that on your phone. Even producing it yourself technically is not okay because it's still child sexual abuse material, but it's illegal, right? And so we want to make sure kids understand that it's not okay. And it's very harmful, right? You wouldn't want your picture being shared around. Right. And gosh, airdrop, and everybody in the room can have an image, right? That's how easy it is. So sextortion, going from the sexting to the sextortion. Sextortion is a crime that is on the rise. In every school I go to, I can find at least one case, probably that year, that's happened at every school district around here. So it's no new. It's still rising, but it's happening. And
I'm going to pause just for a second. Some people don't know what that is. What is sextortion?
So when a child sends a nude image to someone, it could be someone they do know, someone they don't know, because boyfriend and girlfriends and kids can do that to each other or online. They send a nude image and then this person's like, hey, if you don't send me another picture, if you don't send me money, if you don't meet me in person, I'm going to share this with all your friends. I'm going to drop this to your coach, your mom, your dad. I'm going to ruin your whole life if you don't do this right now. Send me a gift card. And this is just happening, like pressure on this child to do these things, to send this money. And it's just a growing crime. A lot of people think, well, okay, I got girls, I got to be really on this. My boys, I'm not too worried about. Actually, the cyber tip line is saying that boys are being targeted more than girls. And it's not for pictures, it's for money. We've had kids that have come through our center and they're working 2 jobs, a kid, just to continue to pay off these sex workers that are, wanting money and things like that. So
that they do not share the image that was initially given.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. And, when kids are online talking about those safety things, it's like I'll send you one or you send me one. We can just do it together. Or it's just like that grooming where it's like, hey, I think you're really hot. Can you send me just a picture in your baseball uniform? Oh, like you look so good in that uniform. Can you send me now with your shirt off? Oh, I think you would look really good. Let me see your boxers. Now I want to see, right? So then there's just that slow progression of things. And was a teenage boy, if a hot girl is trying to message him on Instagram, right? He's like, oh, no one will know this is happening, right? It's just fine. It's not fine.
It's not fine.
It's not fine. These people are sneaky and they're going to pretend to be someone they're not. And it's just sadly a growing crime. And then not just financial sextortion or images and stuff, and like the kids actually sending and creating nude images. AI, generative AI is now being used more and more to exploit children too. And so a seemingly harmless picture can now be changed to something inappropriate, and a child can be sextorted by that picture, and it looks real.
Those look real. Those AI pictures look real.
Yes.
So, how do you avoid that?
Right. That's a hard place to navigate as a parent. I know many more parents who are not posting their children on social media because of that reason. Just because it's sadly scary. And people that you may see as your friend may not be they may be a child predator and you just don't know about it. And using that picture that you intended for good, that you wouldn't think anybody would change or alter or share, they may do it. Right. You never know.
I think one of the hard things is going to be that it's a boundary between having privacy and making sure that we're protecting our children, giving our children privacy as they're getting older, but also making sure that we're protecting our children, because the phones and the tablets, they have such access. People have access to them, and they have access to people. And even like the video games that have chat rooms and things like that, we really have to be aware of what's going on so that we can know, of course, we tell them, hey, don't talk to people that you don't know. Make sure you're playing with your friends, but then sometimes we have people that have, oh, it was his cousin, or it was, we've just got to really be in tune with what our kids are doing, including our teenagers.
Yes.
But now this happens more. Is there a certain age group that this happens more to? Like, what's the more common, like, is it more when I think about it, I always think about our preteens.
Yeah.
Our preteens, because that seems like the age group that seems to be targeted the most. But is there an age group that has a higher risk for this?
When it comes to we can put human trafficking exploitation into the same, because it's using a child to meet a need or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So I know for human trafficking exploitation part of it, maybe not sextortion, but we're looking at more of the, 12 to that 16 year range, right? That's a time where they are very vulnerable. They're very self-conscious. They're looking for validation. And what is that perpetrator going to do? I understand
validate
you. Your parents don't listen to you like I do. I'm your friend. I'm here to listen to you and help you through your right. And that's that grooming thing. Yeah. And so you can see your preteens getting very caught up in it. But again, now it's happening at younger ages. But I feel like that again is a very sweet spot. Mm-hmm.
What about cyberbullying? Let's talk a little bit about cyberbullying. It still is an issue. It's a growing concern. Why is that harmful to like a child's mental health, cyberbullying?
Yeah, so, I guess when I was in school, cyberbullying kind of was there, but wasn't as much. Now it's everywhere. Regular bullying you can get away from. You go home, you can just, that was a horrible day, I know it, but then you're safe at home and more or less, and everything's fine. Cyberbullying follows you wherever you go. Mm-hmm. You always constantly have access to that phone. And it reaches a wider array of people. It's not just the kids at your school anymore that know this. It's everybody in your community and surrounding areas and possibly the world, right? They can send it and share it with whoever they want to, and it can spread really fast. Just in a matter of minutes, just with social media and sharing and technology. So it's very hard. Right. And I know as an adult, I don't want to be told hateful things and have people comment mean things. Imagine the child who's just trying to fit in and figure out life.
Right.
And they're getting told all these mean things.
Right.
Yeah. But like you said, a lot of people, we hear bullying all the time. And I love that you brought up cyberbullying because, it's just something we're always told about and, don't cyberbully. But the effects that cyberbullying has on kids, it can even, even bullying in itself can lead to suicide. Right. And
when we're having our appointment, that's what I usually talk to children about, especially preteens. When we talk about bullying, we don't linger on it for long, but I definitely talk about it because you don't know what someone's home life is like. You don't know what they're going through. Like bullying in general can make someone that may be the icing on the cake. And we need to talk to our kids about that. If we see anything that makes us think that our kid is the bully, even at home, if we go, why are you treating your sibling like that? Yeah, siblings have rivalry. We have sibling rivalry. But then if you go, okay, that's a little too far, let's talk a little bit about why this shouldn't happen. Because if they'll do it at home excessively, then are they doing it at school? Like, don't dismiss, kids are, need to toughen up. Don't dismiss the fact that some kids have a harder life outside of school, and something that we think is just a joke can be the icing to the cake and make them go over the edge. Okay?
Right. And I love what you said. And I always tell my kids when I go to schools, everybody has a plate. It's an invisible plate, but you never know how full that plate is.
Right.
And when you cyberbully or bully someone else, you're adding to their plate, and you just don't know how heavy that plate already is. Yeah. And it just makes kids really realize it's like, you may think it's funny. You may not even realize what you're doing is cyberbullying because you generally just think it's funny or they're going along with it. But in reality, And we got to be checking in with our friends and making sure that they're okay when we're sharing things, saying these things, these videos that we know, oh, this is a funny video. Well, that might actually be really embarrassing
To
for
them.
your friend, right? And so just having that empathy, doing those quick little check-ins with your friends, can go a long way.
Are there certain signs that parents should look for to see if their children are dealing with bullying or cyberbullying? Are there certain signs to
Really,
watch for?
I was thinking about that before we came and talked today. And really, if your child's starting to shy away from using technology or just seeming very sad or upset after utilizing technology, or again, trying to avoid it in general, or there's just, again, a change in mood or behavior. That's probably one of your bigger things, when it comes to any kind of something that is wrong, our mood and behaviors are changing, becoming more isolated and things like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. Even parents can be overwhelmed by technology, right?
Yes.
What are some simple steps that parents or families can do to make sure we're not having too much screen time, or that we're as a whole not overwhelmed by technology?
Yes. As a new young parent, I'm having to learn these things too. I'm watching my other fellow parents go through these steps and things, and something I'm learning is that every parent, every child, and every household is different.
Yeah.
So your household standards may be a little bit different depending on theirs. So I don't want you to get into, well, Susie does this and they do this and I'm a terrible parent because I'm not doing this. You have to do the best you can with what you're given, right? So give yourself grace, because you're not going to be perfect, because there's so many ways to monitor and be aware. But some small tips to start to get your brain thinking about this. Again, going back to your best tool is having conversations. Continual conversations from a very early age. That NetSmarts program from the Missing Kids, the Cyber Tip Line, they have a program on their website that has parent tip sheets on how to have these conversations at different ages with your kids to help you start those conversations. Because it can be really hard. And they have videos and stuff on their websites too, especially for the littles, to watch something, and then they'll help initiate the conversation. So keep those doors open, talk about it, and talk about it early. Number one. Parental controls, right? We want to make sure we know what websites, apps they're using, and then what parental controls can we be utilizing to help protect our children, right? So do your research. The Bark phones, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Bark phones before. If you go to the just Bark phone website, right, and Google it, they have like videos on how to actually do parental controls for lots of different areas, like YouTube and all those different very high platforms, for children. So to help you with those, because sometimes you just don't know where to go to do those parental controls or what they have to offer. So the Bark phone's a really good one. And then just their phones in general is, I've heard, we have people at our facility that have Bark phones for their kids. It helps monitor their usage on their phones. Check their battery life. If their battery life is constantly dying, like you can go into their settings and look at their phone usage. Well, they're probably on their phone too much, right? Or their screen time usage, right? If you're looking through their phone, if you see like two calculator apps, that's kind of weird. There's things called Volt apps that like can hide.
What?
I know. So when you're doing those quick searches, right, you can just intentionally look for certain things that may pop out to you. Look at their screen time. You can see what apps they're using most, right? And that can kind of guide your conversations or your searches in their phones.
I don't know anything about the Vault app.
Well, it looks like a regular app that would just like a normal app on your phone. And as a parent, if you just saw a calculator, like, okay, whatever.
It's a calculator.
It's a calculator, yes. Right? But when you just like search their apps and there's two calculator apps, it's like, okay, that's kind of weird, right? But that Vault app can be used to hide, another app that they should not be on.
It's a lot, you guys. It's a lot. I'm getting overwhelmed just listening to some of the things, and my kids are little. So, yes. But again, having a relationship with your children and communicating with your children is helpful, more helpful than anything.
Yes.
Making sure they know that it's safe for them to ask you questions and talk to you. But this is very important too, yes. Because how would we have known about a Vault app?
I know, yeah. Okay. I guess on some other things I can think about. well, never mind, that thought just went out my window. I got distracted. But going back to that conversation piece, kids, if they want to do it, they want to talk to somebody, if they want to use that app, you can do all the protective things in the world. You can prevent them from downloading it, say you can't do this, all these things. But now they leave your household and they go to school. Their friends have it. They go to a sleepover, their friends have it. They can log in on Snapchat on a website and log back out. They don't actually have to have the app, right? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, you can give them all the tools and resources and do everything you can to keep them safe. But the kids are going to have to make their decisions. And they may make wrong decisions because they're human and they're kids. So having those conversations, making sure they know who to go to when things get tough, things get sticky, what can I do, and not go through it alone, that's going to be your best tool, because there are tools out there to help, like the cyber tip line. If their nude images are shared out on the NetSmart's website called Take It Down, they can help get those nude images off the internet. There are tools, but they got to know they can go to somebody. So help them identify, I say at least 5 safe adults, because when it comes to internet stuff, they may not want to come to mom and dad to talk to them about these embarrassing things, right? They may want to go talk to aunt or to a teacher or a coach. Help them identify somebody they can talk to, or a tip line or a hotline, something, so they're not going through it alone.
Okay. Safe adults, having more than just the parents as safe adults, people that you trust. Yes. But having a more than just right there in the home, just in case they want to go outside of that, but still talk to an adult. That's important. Good. Oh, here we go. Social media, gaming platforms, messaging apps. What other conversations should we be bringing up about these things? Some of the games recently have been under a lot of fire because of the chat rooms not being appropriate. I think Roblox was one.
Yes.
But I think they're zoning in a little bit more on some of these gaming tools or gaming apps also.
If it's designed for kids, guess where predators are going to go, right? I mean, that's just saying, hey, I have this pot of many children that I could reach out to and talk to, right? That's just how, sadly, the world works. So just because it's an app for kids does not mean that it's
only
safe.
Children on
right? Because people can say whatever they want to online and do whatever they want. And so, big thing, again, in your conversations, they got to recognize those red flags. When someone's trying to be really nice to them, they want to send them gifts in the mail, that they are trying to pull them into a different platform or chat room from that safe, more monitored one. Like, hey, let's move over here and have conversations, right? Or hey, send me pictures of yourself. That's weird.
That's
or
already
like,
a
where do you
flag.
live?
Right.
Like, what team do you play on? What school do you go? Those are all personal questions, and we should tell our kids to never give out any of that information online. And those are red flags. Best bet, tell your kids, don't talk to people you don't know. But we all know that kids are talking to people that they don't know online, because it's the world we live in. But what are the questions they're asking? If we're just saying, hey, what's your favorite popcorn? Oh, that was a cool, let's go beat this level together. Those are probably fine. But when we start asking those red flag questions, that's when the kids need to be like, hey,
that's a red flag. That's something that mom told me, hey, wait a minute. And what we have to realize as parents is that they're listening to what we're saying. Even if you don't think they are listening to what we're saying. And so just like with little ones, they know what their private spaces are, they know that because we've said it more than once. And so the same thing with internet safety, and hey, if somebody asks you this, that's inappropriate. It will come back up in their head like, wait, mom said if they ask me about a picture, or if they ask me where I live, that should come up in your conversation. So then in their heads, when it happens, they know, oh, wait a minute, that's one of the things mom told me not to answer.
Yes, exactly. So really, again, having those conversations. And if you can keep social media away from your kids as long as you can, I highly suggest it. Snapchat and Instagram are the 2 worst things for children. That's more likely they're going to get in trouble some way or the other. If they're playing games, take off the feature where they're not talking to people that they don't know, like only their friends and stuff like that. And then my next suggestion is to get on the games. Have your kids show you how to use the app, play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Who are they talking to? Right? Talk to. Right? Get in there. It's going to be awkward and hard and uncomfortable, but just do your best. Get involved. Let them know that you care and you're listening. Ask them about how they feel after talking to these people. What do they talk about? Ask the questions and really just get involved.
Right. That's important. Okay. What do we do as parents if we find something? So we see the message, or we walk in and we hear the conversation, or we see the picture. What is our step? What do we do as parents? What's the first thing that we're supposed to do outside of take a deep breath?
Yes.
And then what's the next step?
Yes. So it all just kind of depends on what it is. If you're coming across, cyberbullying, is this child go to school with your child? Do we need to notify the school? Right? Do we need to report it to the website or app that it's on? Right? Reporting is a big thing, whether that's to the website and app, to law enforcement, the cyber tip line, whatever that may be. There's different kind of levels, I would say, that you need to report, but reporting is a big thing. Talking to your child about how they're feeling. Don't just say, you kind of mentioned earlier, toughen up. Kids will be kids. Get over it. Well, your child may be feeling really bad after being cyberbullied, right?
Right.
So ask them how they're feeling. Check in with them. Do they need to talk through anything? And if you come across child sexual abuse material or nude images of your child, another child, or anything like that, law enforcement probably does need to be involved, right? Because we want to make sure that even if it's another child, that's reported, because that's not okay. And we need to make sure it's handled in the appropriate way, to the best of our abilities, right? If it's someone who's sextorting your child, don't respond to the messages, right? Don't delete the account that the child is on. You can change the screen name, but don't delete the account the child's on, because law enforcement may need that account and those messages, right? And things like that. Report them to the website and app and things like that. Those are some of your big things.
Okay.
Yeah. Reporting to your law enforcement, depending on the situation and the severity of it and what you come across. Reporting to the website and app, and then encouraging your kids, if they're at a certain age, maybe they didn't actually engage with this person because now they're really smart. Mom and dad have this conversation, but they still need to report these people, because if they're reaching out to your child, they're probably reaching out to other kids too.
Right.
Right. And so it's just a little click, those 3 dots, block, report, and then move on, depending on the situation. Right. But
right.
Yeah.
Right. But yes, I think you just touched on something. Even if your child was smart enough not to respond, or mature enough, I won't say smart enough, that was the wrong use of words, mature enough not to respond, not to engage, us reporting it helps other children that didn't know or weren't aware that it was something wrong with it.
Yes. I read somewhere that usually these perpetrators who are doing the online enticement or sextorting or whatever, they usually have around 300 other kids that they're messaging at that time.
Goodness.
300.
Why do they have so much time on their hands?
I don't know. That's what I want to know. I'm trying to cook dinner, trying to get my kids to bed.
Where do you get the time?
Where do you get the time to do all this stuff? I don't know.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, as we wrap up, what is the one message that you hope that parents take from this podcast?
My big thing is to have the conversations, and don't think that you are going to, expose them, too early. These conversations can be introduced at such young ages in ways that's appropriate for their age and development. The NetSmart, they keep going back to it, they're talking about as young as 5 years old, and you can do things before then. That's even, screen time monitoring and stuff like that. But have the conversations and start them early. When I said sexting, 4th to 5th grade, but if you give a child a phone that has access to the internet and they go to school and somehow they hear this big old, 4th or 5th grader mention the word pornography, and your child's in the 2nd grade, and they go, well, I've never heard that word before. I'm going to use my smarts and go look up this word that I've never heard before. What are they going to find when they go look up this word, right? So you don't have to say pornography, or you can and just introduce the term and just say, images that of a person without their clothes on, these are not okay, and this is what it is, and you should not look up these images or anything like that because it's not meant for kids. And just leaving it at that and exploring those conversations, that's going to protect them. So adapt these conversations at young ages. They're not going to be perfect. You can do all the right things, and our kids can still get in messy situations. Your kids can do all the right things and still get
in messy situations.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just know that we are all doing our best. Technology is ever changing. Just do your best. And that's all we can ask for. There's great, again, I'm going back to the NetSmarts. Go on there, look up all the different resources. If you are on Facebook, Officer Gomez, I don't know if you've ever seen his posts and stuff on Facebook. He posts amazing things. You can follow his page. He's a school resource officer. He's pretty popular. Parenting a Tech World is a great group on Facebook that you can get into. If you have a question about something, some parent probably in that group has already asked it. So you can just use your resources, start the conversations. They may not be pretty, they may be awkward, but you can do it.
We can do this.
We can do this.
As parents, thinking 4th, 5th grade, these are young children that we have to start initiating the conversation because they may not realize the things that we think that they should. So thank you so much.
Yes.
We may do this. You'll see her more. This is her 2nd time here, but she's going to come back because she has the important stuff for us. Because as parents, I mean, like I said, I have young children. And so I would not have thought 4th grade, we're talking about sexting. Again, some of this, and this is everybody's personal preference, but, children, do they even need phones this young anyway?
Yes.
But that's another ballgame. We all think differently on these things, but a lot of the issues start when they get their own phones or their own access to devices. So I won't go into detail there because I know I'm on the other end of the spectrum when it comes to that on how I think.
Well, let me say one thing about that.
Yes.
Just to wrap up, because we're kind of ending now and talking about those phones, because that is initially what's been giving to kids at younger iPads, everything, especially for parents with cell phones. The Officer Gomez guy said something and it shook me for a second. We give kids these phones for a safety reason, to call us when they need to, which is a great thing. But think about all the million of other things you're giving them access to. For that one safety thing, can you give them something that's just for that reason, but it's not opening the world of the internet and apps and things to them? Right? So think about that. For the one reason why, which is good, I'm not saying not, and it's not a good thing to think about, but those 9 years old, you're giving them that cell phone, right? You're opening the world for that. Can we hold off on that for a little bit longer?
A lot longer.
18.
A lot longer until maturity kicks in and we know what people that we're getting enticed, that we know that we're getting groomed. Because why would a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old think that they're getting groomed?
Exactly.
But that's, I'm old school. But yes, that is something to think about. That's something to think about also. So this was very good information.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Anytime. This is Internet Safety Month. We're putting this out here for you. She's given resources. Go look them up. Officer Gomez, NetSmarts. Look those things up and be proactive, meaning do something ahead of time. Talk about it ahead of time, because I have personally seen parents find out information in a doctor's appointment just by looking through a phone. And it was a shock to them all. So we don't want to have to do something reactive. Let's try to do it in advance. Okay? So thank you for joining this podcast. Thank you for joining the Parent Prescription. Share it, like it, save it. But this information is for you. Have a good week.